Okay, good day everyone. So today our topic is aquatic plants. Okay, so I know you're very familiar about aquatic plants now. Okay, so when you visit lakes and ponds, do you notice plants floating on the water surface? So have you visit lakes and ponds? So nakaadto na mo ang mga lakes and ponds. So no, if you have noticed, no, na yung mga plants ito okay, yung mga na yung mga sagbot, no? Tanaw na to, or sila sagbot, but they are plants, no? They're considered as plants, no? So plants that live in water are called aquatic plants or hydropipes, no? Tawagan na nila. So these plants contain special structures that help them adapt to this kind of habitat because as we know, most of the plants they live or they survive no through the soil no dito sa soil but these aquatic plants no they have special structures no that help them to adapt no to that kind of environment no tanaw nimo they grow in the water walay soil no so mo na siya one question that naunsa man sila pagkabuhi diya no nganong naka-survive no how they survive in water okay because most of the plants trees are naka-attach sila sa soil so okay, kapit na. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, so features of aquatic plants. So what are the features of aquatic plants? Plants. Now, aquatic plants have less cuticle or waxy layers on its leaves because they experience less water loss compared to terrestrial plants. Yes, no, because the loss, itong mga these aquatic plants, no, they lose less water because they live in water. Okay, then it possesses flat leaves and Ecrinchema or flotation, no? Ecrinchemia, no, is a space in between leaves, stems, and roots of aquatic plants. It allows gas exchange between the roots and shoots of the plant. Stems of aquatic plants are more flexible that can easily flow with the water current because these aquatic plants they live in water so their roots no are stems and stems of aquatic plants are more flexible no mas flexible siya pag na siya current no if not no kung dili siya flexible posible nga mabalik siya or dili siya maka survive so mo na siya ang isa sa reason one of the reasons why kini mga aquatic plants can survive no sa tubig. Okay, the roots of aquatic plants are smaller and fibrous so mas ang aquatic plants ang ilahang mga roots ang ilang mga gamot gagmay na fibrous. Okay, it prevents them from drifting to other places where conditions may not be favorable. So, mo na siyang purpose why their roots are smaller and fibrous no because it will help them nga dili sila madrift no dili sila maadto sa lain nga dapit no kung ang condition ay dili favorable sa ila dili maayo. Okay, so types of aquatic plants. So let's study what are the types of aquatic plants. So we have the floating plants. Okay, kini mga floating plants are light and spongy. These plants contain numerous species like a sponge, which makes them lighter and float. Floating plants do not reach the bottom of the water, and it has fibrous root or a water absorption. So unlike other types of aquatic plants no ang floating plants ang ilahang sila no dili na kay nila ma-reach katong pinakailalom sa tubig no compared to the other plants. Okay, because they are called floating. No? So the presence of flat leaves enable it to absorb more energy from the sun. So mo ng flat leaves sila, most of the floating plants na flat leaves to capture more energy from the sun. No? Duckweed, water hyacinth, and uh, piastia are some examples of floating aquatic plants. So those are examples uh, floating, no, floating plants. Okay, tawag po na to na yung fixed plants. Now we have another type of aquatic plants. We have the fixed plants. So fixed plants have roots that are fixed on the bottom of the plant. So fixed na gid siya, no? Its long stem is flexible, no? Flexible ang stem, hollow, and light that reaches the surface of the water. Okay, so fixed plants no, they can reach the surface of the water unlike sa floating na type of aquatic plants. No, the leaves are plate-like in shape. No, so plate. It's like a plate ang ilahang mga dahon. No, its stomata or opening pore in the leaves are only present on the surface facing the sun because plants acquire carbon dioxide in the atmosphere instead of water. Lotus and water lily are some examples of fixed plants. So those are examples of the fixed plants, no? Water lily, no? So ang kining mga fixed plants, ang ilahang leaves are ang tawag na to ani, ang ilang leaves kay unsa daw to ilahang leaves daw? Plate, no? Plate in shape. So lignin, no? So and then they can reach, no? The deep, no? In the deep water, no? So kaya nila aabton to unlike dito sa floating floating aquatic floating plants, no? So next we have the other kinds of aquatic plants. We have the underwater plants. So underwater plants are submerged plants have narrow leaves. No, they have narrow leaves and flexible stems that move along the water current. Its leaves lack pores, but the stems contain air spaces that store oxygen for respiration. Underwater plants are very delicate, but they help in keeping the water clean through filtration. No, kining mga underwater plants, no, if you have observed, no, uh, kanang sa mga aquarium, no? So na mga ginabutang na underwater plants, no? Because it is said that this kind of plant can help no, to clean water. So mao po nang ginabuhat sa uban nga magabuhi og isda na butang sa aquarium. So they put some underwater plants, no? So have you, no? Do you have namoy mga kwan, namoy mga aquarium sinubalay? Okay, so namo, so just comment if you have, then nagabutang pa mo mga plants, no, nga maka like underwater plant. Underwater plants, yun nga, no? Underwater plants are usually used for ornamental purposes in aquariums. Panweed and tape grass are some examples. So, kini mga tape grass are some of examples. So, as I said, no, that this kind of aquatic plants, no, itong mga underwater plants, no, yung mga those katong mga nagkuha ng aquarium nagabutang sila og this kind of aquatic plants, no, mga underwater plants, no, to maintain and to help the water clean, no, for the fish nga naa dito ginabutang. Okay, so next, so common habitats of aquatic plants. So where we could find or where these aquatic plants, no, asa man sila nakapuyo, asa sila makitaan, no? So we have first we have the ponds. Okay, ponds are swallow man-made pool of fresh water that provides good environmental condition for the growth of floating aquatic plants. So sa mga ponds, no? So ponds are good common habitats for aquatic plants. Then due to its shallow depth, only floating plants like aquatic fern and water lilies are the ones that grow in ponds. Okay, so due to the shallow depth, no, kinirading ang tungod ana only floating plants ang pwede diha no, like aquatic fern and water lilies. Okay, so next we have the lakes, no? Lakes are bigger version of ponds. Lake is an inland body of water that has limited water output flow. Due to its stagnant nature and deep, it is capable of allowing the growing of floating, fixed, and underwater plants, aquatic plants. In addition, the lake has higher nutrient content that sustain nutrients for the growth of aquatic plants. So, kining lakes, no, um, the lake has higher nutrient no, contain no, nga pwede niya mag-sustain for the aquatic plants to survive and for them to enable to grow. River banks, no? River banks, unlike ponds and lakes, river has continuous flow of water. Water flow affects the amount of nutrients present in water that limits growth of aquatic plants. No, why? Okay. So river banks, no, it is not like the same with ponds and lakes because river has continuous flows of water. So water flow affects the amount of nutrients present in the water that limits growth of aquatic plants. So because of the because of the flow of water, maapektuhan ang growth no sa aquatic plants. Most of the time, riverbanks serve as the river primary area in the river where aquatic plants grow due to the temporary pool of water that harness nutrients. Due to this, the number of aquatic plants in this habitat is less compared to ponds and lakes. No, so it means no, ang sa mga in the river banks, ang number of aquatic plants are less, no, mas gamay ra. Okay? So compared to ponds and lakes. Okay, seas and ocean, no? In seas and in ocean, no, we could see that there are also plants there. No, there are aquatic plants. No, even marine habitats serve as home for aquatic plants. No, the coast areas in seas and oceans serve as primary habitat for sea grasses, which are fixed aquatic plants that provide food for many marine animals. So, even seas and ocean, no, ang seas and ocean, no, they serve as home for aquatic plants, and these aquatic plants they serve as the home for mga marine animals, and then they serve as food no for the marine animals. So one is a beauty for aquatic plants. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, key points, no? So plants that live in water are called aquatic plants. So ang tawag atong mga tanom, mga bulak nga nasa water, nga mabuhi sa water, they are called aquatic plants or hydrophates. No, aquatic plants have less cuticle or waxy layers. on its leaves. No, it possesses that leaves an escherichia or a flotation. No, escherichia is a space in between leaves, stems, and roots of aquatic plants. There are three types of aquatic plants, namely floating, fixed, and underwater plants. So those are the three types of the aquatic plants. Now, common habitat for aquatic plants are ponds, lakes, riverbanks, and coastlines near seas or oceans. So let's proceed now to the question and answer. What is the other term for aquatic plants? So the other terms for aquatic plants called as hydrophages. No, so hydrophages. These are shallow man-made pool of fresh water that provides good environmental condition for the growth of floating aquatic plants. No, these are yung ano diha no, as you see. So we have the hint in this question. No, so swallow a man-made pool of fresh water that provides good environmental for the growth of floating aquatic plants. So ang man-made pool of fresh water, so mo na sila ang katong um, tawag na to ani ponds, no? So next, no? Uh, okay. Next, a space in between leaves, stems, and roots of aquatic plants. So ang tawagan na niya, letter A, no? Erythema. Okay, so wait lang po. I will erase the ano, yung naka-draw diha. So next, now how are roots of aquatic plants different from terrestrial plants? Now we have in my previous video, you have watched my the video that I made for terrestrial plants. Now we have know about terrestrial plants in my previous video. No, the title is terrestrial plants. So how are roots of aquatic plants differ from terrestrial plants? So the roots of aquatic plants are smaller in size. So mas gagmay. Okay. These plants contain numerous species like a sponge which makes them lighter and float. So, tawag natin na floating plants. No, contain numerous species like a sponge which makes them lighter and float. No, only floating plants because they are light, no? No kay tungod kay gaan sila, maka-float sila. Next, no, an inland body of water that has limited water output flow. So, tawag nato ana niya lake, no? Next, we have now how can floating plants absorb more sunlight effectively? So how can floating plants absorb more sunlight effectively? So they have flat leaves. So, di ba? Na sila flat leaves. So they can capture more sunlight that they need, no? All of the plants, no, all kinds of plants, no, need sunlight. Okay, what are the three types of aquatic plants? So what are the three kinds or three types of aquatic plants? So the three types of aquatic plants are floating, fixed, and underwater plants. So those are the three types of aquatic plants. Next, now what could be the possible purpose of having flexible stems in aquatic plants? Now the possible purpose of that is to move with the water current. No? So that's why they have flexible stems for kung dili man gani maayo ang panahon, dili favorable sa ilaha. Of course, no, these their flexible stems, no, would help them to move with the current para dili sila mabali, and then they could survive. Okay. Which of the following statements is not true about aquatic plants? So asa man diha dili tinuod about aquatic plants, no? Letter A, no, they have cuticles. So less gamay tong ilahang cuticle. Okay? So thanks for watching this video. So God bless everyone and hoping you have a good day. Okay?